Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode with All for Synchronicity. It's been some time since I've made videos, and it's been due to a lot of the platforms cutting down. We could say, as Max Egan's been saying, the burning books stuff is well underway. So I didn't want to continue to put my time into these corrupt corporations or these dead entities because we're watching our world change. We're actually about to watch all these corrupt entities vanish off the face of the earth. And all we need is you guys to put more belief in the fact that all the evil and all the darkness and the corruptions are about to go. Anyway, I thought round about now I should make a video reminding people of truths and knowledge and show you some hidden in plain sight indoctrinations which have been going around, especially here in Scotland, over these last years. So today, I'm going to take a quick look into a passage in the Bible and show you some common law acts which have been underway, especially since this unlawful pandemic event which has been hosted. Because we the people have been holding these Freemasonic occultists to account for their unlawful acts. And just recently, the world leaders, if you call them that, they were served with documentation which confirmed the stance that they are taking as their dead entities, instead of being we the people and standing as a living man or woman. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I hope you take time to learn more wisdoms for yourselves. And without further ado, let me run on into this attempt of a good episode for you guys. So, ever so briefly, Ancient Times Bible, Hosea 4:6. You can see in here that it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. And thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the laws of thy God. I will also forget thy children." And if you wish to put this in context, you're really more welcome to read the whole passage. So, delving in deeper to Hosea, if we look back, this was in ancient kingdoms where people were basically perishing for the lack of knowledge of themselves. You know, you're a living man or woman, and you are not a citizen or a asset of a corporation or a state. And if you look at the definition of the word citizen, that's a asset which isn't breathing, that belongs to a state or a corporation. It's the same as the definition of a human being. That's actually a imitation monster of a living man or woman. And this just shows you simple wisdoms for lack of knowledge. So moving on, and I want to go to today the common law court, because recently the judges took effort to serve the world leaders and heads of states with a lawful notice from we the people, breathing man and woman. So without further ado, I will attempt to please the audience. Stand with. So here we go. To Nicola Sturgeon, for my American friends or friends around this earth, Nicola Sturgeon is the first minister here in Scotland, and for as long as anybody could ever consider the name, you'll know that her greatest cause is to find independence for Scotland, which, if you know more knowledge, you'll actually know was done 700 years ago to this year. So it just shows you how indoctrinated these so-called leaders are. So without further ado, let me read this documentation that was served to from the common law court to these so-called leaders. So we the people, having forwarded a copy of the declaration of the common law court for you to examine, write to acknowledge your refusal to answer the people within a given period. Now, as you'll read through this letter, it's actually 7 days from the publication, this publication that was served to them. So we're well into them actually receiving the documents and their opportunities to react. So the current privileged position you hold was granted by the people to protect their rights and interests. As a paid employee, the First Minister answers to the people, and we trust that they, your people, are always close to your heart. You would expect so if she's doing what she's meant to do. For centuries now, people have used their inalienable right to create various lawful documents which were used to establish and protect our rights. These documents, see below this list here, still stand today and are used as a foundation for the people and their first principle of law. Now, if some of you haven't learnt the Magna Carta, you may wish to do so, because you'll find from the Magna Carta the Declaration of Independence from Arbroath for Scotland was actually based on this wisdoms. It's even mentioned below here, the Declaration of Arbroath in 1320, which was written in Latin, and you know our churches still speak right Latin. So the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, which is very close to a Freemasonic date. They cherish this date. The constitutions, which were similar copies to the original declaration in the 1300s. So moving on, as with the previous historical documents, we the people have an right to stand together and create this declaration. This declaration has been created by living men and women to protect living men and living women. It has also been created with no involvement from the Crown and the state. Remember what I was saying about citizens? They're owned by corporations, crowns and states. Well, we ain't a citizen. Waking up. This position has already been established through the previous issued historical documents referred to above. Given your refusal to respond, we the people require a written statement from you within 7 days from receipt of the notice to confirm the acceptance of the lawful declaration and to confirm that its terms will be complied with. So as you can see where we stand now with these people. If this acceptance is not confirmed within 7 days, we require the authority that you refer to, which gives the Scottish Government and you, the First Minister, authority over living men and women. So by the way, we have taken back that authority, because we haven't had a response from these unlawful people. Bearing in mind that corporations can only deal with persons, corporations, they will never obtain parity with the living man or a living woman, and so such will never have any authority or jurisdiction over them unless they can establish this. In conclusion, we the people state that if the declaration of common law court is not acceptable, or if we receive no reply, we will take it that your adoption position and that of the government is that all previously issued historical documents are no longer acceptable to you. And that was addressed to the world leaders, remember? As they were created under similar conditions, duress. The previous issued historical documents can have no authority or stand in the statutory system if the declaration of the common law court is dismissed. And this was signed by we the people. If you wish to go here and read about this to yourselves, you can do so at thecommonlawcourt.com. There will be future updates on the progress of this. So to continue on with my intention of today's presentation, this individual that's addressed to you at the top, obviously each individual had their own addressed letter to them, but this one here is for this individual, Nicola Sturgeon, and her song that she's been singing for years is all about independence for Scotland, doing it for I don't know what reasons, but we shall move along and show the declarations and independences, and we'll do it all on Wiki. I mean, it's not hard to actually look at truths that they wish to publicise to the greater good. So, the Declaration of Arbroath, and if we skim this, is the name usually given to a letter dated on the 6th of April. And if you look through history, you'll find out that people respect the 6th of April for this reason of this documentation. It was written by the Scottish barons addressed to the Pope. It constitutes the King Robert I responding to the disobedience of the Pope's demand, basically the First War of Scotland independence, which was won for we the people. So how can Nicola have her independence if it's already happened? You get it? So it was submitted in Latin. It's 17th century. It was starting to get some recognition, so on and so forth. If we skim, and you can go here again, it's on Wiki. It's not hard to get there yourselves. But if we skim to it, right, this legacy that the Wiki is trying to publicise, which is really interesting, right? So in 2020, is the 700th anniversary of the Declaration. They organised the festival, but they killed it due to the pandemic. Ironic, eh? And don't you think it's interesting how the pandemic arrived specifically as we exited the EU, Brexit, yeah. And the funny thing is, some of these Freemasonic guys coming out of there, they've now been admitting that this was planned years ago, and some are actually putting clues out that it's possibly 5 years in the making. So anyway, Scotland independence, how can you have something you've already got? Moving on. So this year is also the 303rd year anniversary for the Freemasons' Grand Lodge of London. And if you're aware of the Freemasons and all their Baphomet God stuff that they do, you'll also know that the name St. John the Baptist means a lot to them. And I'm making a point here because Trump went and did a thing outside one of St. John's Baptist churches, remember? So this was also a confirmation that he's on board with the Ordo Ab Chao event. So for all you Trump supporters, you best do some investigations on this and try and find truths. Even if you come and put truths in the comments below, it's all good stuff. So the ancient lodges, as you can see, some more angel worshipping with goat's feet. The Ancient Lodge of England is now known as the Grand Lodge, which is the Revival Lodge I'm speaking. Once again, you can go to Wiki, you can look up this for yourselves. The Revival Lodge was because they had several lodges in London fighting each other for different ambitions. So one of the royal family guys, he was like, tell you what, let's get it all put in under one lodge. In 1717, So your lodge, St. John's Lodge, this one was made in 1812 after following all the stuff I've just mentioned here. So we're kind of coming to an end of the short episode I wanted to share. And I know I might have tried to get the information over to you quite quickly today, but there's so much going on around the world that people need to start waking up. The key to wisdom is taking time to digest the information. And there's people like the Crow House, the Observation Deck. These people are making so much truths, and okay, they're taking some information from historical events, but they're giving it to you in drip feed form, dumbing it down. It's beautiful. One example is recently the Observation Deck started a series about common law, and they've gone back and used Santos Bernacchi, I think it is, his works from 2015, and I'm hoping at some point they start to mention Judge Miller, because he went around, he arrested over 30,000 judges for their unlawful acts on humanity. We could be watching a whole world revolution if people would actually take time to join in and, you know, stand together basically. This website that I'm showing here, this is the common law website, and on here you guys could get a lot more helpful information about a lot of things. We could together make a difference to this world. We just got to start learning. And I think from the divine source aspect of this year, we've been given a gift. We've been given a gift of time to make wisdom in yourselves so that we can make a dent in this world. And we really could start to turn things around in a greater way. And even if these private corporations start vanishing, it's good. They're all crap anyway. I mean, how many of you enjoy Facebook? How many of you enjoy the YouTube book burning stuff? It's not fun. So it's time we start moving over to the things that are fun and sharing joy wider, you know? It's all in our hands, guys. And speaking about in our hands, I'm going to show you one more small show, which I've been keeping away for a while, that I think some of you have been asking me to do a Freemasons presentation. So in this short episode, what I'm going to do is just go and show you some I'm going to go and show you some stuff about the Freemasons. I'm going to use the presentation I've got sitting, and hopefully you guys can enjoy some of this. So if we go past the books all the way down to the camel shakers, yeah, here we go. Camel toe handshakers. Here we go, guys. Onto that scene. Book mode. Right, book mode. Yeah, reading pain. Oh, we don't. Yeah, the camel toe shakers. So these are pictures of their halls. I mean, you can just look at the amount of money that's been flooded into these buildings. I mean, how many people do you think we could actually feed if we started selling off some of this crap? Do you think our world would be starving if that was the case? You know. Anyway, moving on. Look at the wealth oozing out of this building. Yeah, they were planning on a great event this year. Here's one of their sick halls. This is what I wanted to show you, right? This is taken from one of their oldest Freemasonic books. This was the Encyclopedia of 17 something or 1917, something like this. Anyway, here we go. Chaos, a confusion and shapeless mass, such as a supposed to have existed before God, reduced creation into order. It is a Masonic symbol of the ignorance and the intellect of the darkness from which man is rescued by the light and truths of the Masonry. Hence, Ordo ab Chao, Latin, or order out of chaos, English, is one of the mottos of the institution. Now, I'm making a point of this because some people have actually started to say this is Illuminati stuff. Well, Illuminati is actually Freemasons. It's part of the phrase of illuminated. And they try and illuminate everyone. So in this last section, I want to just give you some stuff so that you can start looking for the lovely handshake stuff that they do. So if they're making a 90 degree with the thumb, they're going to touch a knuckle. And when they do it, they either say Boaz, Jocelyn, and they go on to speak about their lodges and stuff. But it's truly a camel toe handshake, or if you want to get more specific, it's the Baphomet. It is making a handshake with the devil himself. So here's the Jocelyn, you know, you can see it's further down the knuckle. If you go back just ever so briefly, this is on the top knuckle. This is on the middle knuckle. So this guy is actually a master. This guy is a Shriner. And that's how they define them. And there's the passwords for you guys if you want to mess with any of these sick Masons. So here's another indoctrinator for you guys. As you can see, he's giving you a lovely blessing with his hand symbol. If you get back into the Arabic books, you'll find out that this actually means a blessing from their Baphomet that they worship. So with this new knowledge I've given you for your handshakes in this next section, hopefully you can now spot when they give their lovely. So here we go. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here, guys. So, handshakes. Does it look like they're shaking camel toes? Does it look interesting? So we'll continue. And this guy giving Queen Elizabeth a blessing of sorts. Oh, so only way you get to meet a queen if you can do a Baphomet handshake. Look, another one. And another one. Oh, and another one. And is he doing it? What do you think about him? There's another one. 90-degree. Does this look like one here? This is the man we were speaking about. Another one. Is this just a wee handshake for the camera? Did it begin as a Freemasonic handshake? Look at this one. The dog's gone mental. They're about to do a second phase handshake, and I've got that one in another book from the Masons. But this is the one that they speak about with the widow and the son, and they pull something out of the grave. It's more sick stuff. Look at the joy coming from this. Choking a Baphomet. Yeah. So the question you should be asking yourself at this point: who's on board with the Freemasons and who's not, and what are they doing? Because they've clearly got some sort of secret thing going on. Now this is a very famous picture, and as you can see, it's very hard to know if there's a Freemason handshake, but here's the thing. Look at all the press crew behind here. He began with one handshake and finished with a second handshake, and you can go and look up this live footage, and in this slide, you'll find another picture of him doing the handshake right there. Now, more Queen. Here's another criminal. Margaret Thatcher, and all the other Kavalian criminals. Another one. Look at this. They actually pose with it here. Like, I'm a Shriner. Like, there's the man that did the crimes against humanity over on the other side of the world. Thank you. And then wrote a book about it. Yeah. Oh, of course. Giving the blessings to the camera, right? Yeah. All in it together, are they? Yeah. And this guy came and running after him. Yeah. Is this why we're doing a Masonic handshake? This. For those of you that think he's not, why would they do a Masonic handshake like this? Blue shirts. Remember their favorite color? They make blue doors. Even this man pretended to dislike this man, but yet they do the same cult handshakes. Does it look like they've sacrificed a Mason or something? Look how sad this face looks. This is just proof that they don't worry about individuals. Their only consideration is the corporation and the brotherhood. Not the brother, the hood. I mentioned this earlier in the slide. Look, the press are actually leaning in this time, and you can see them doing the middle knuckle, confirming that they're a 32 level Mason. So Vaiska Piscis, I left this on that slide. I don't want to go off on this slide, but Vaiska Piscis is something that's been spoken about a lot, and you get to see what Viscus Piscis is, and from the sense that it's number 5. And someone was asking about this symbolism, so I made a point of highlighting it on slides. You can also see, if we go back, he was doing his other hand symbol. Remember the two of them? Here we go, 6. So if we go back to 6, 6 was a sign of the horns. There you go. And that was taken from a Hebrew book. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you keep your horns up your arse. There you go. There's your horns. There's your horns. Why are they even doing it? I mean, we're meant to be living in a righteous attribute, not this sickness. So, well, folks, you've seen it for the way it is. I suspect I will make an attempt over the next week or so, make a Freemasonic series. I don't want to put it on YouTube because I don't want to feed a sick corporation with wisdom. I think the best approach is to allow people to come and ask me anything they wish to. So let me close things up for everybody. It's at least been 20 minutes. So I must say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for supporting me. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to do it. Thank you for joining my Patreon. All the good things. Keep in touch. Comments below, people. Love is the key. Love and blessings to you and all that's dear to you. May grace be with you always. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.